I'm a senior registration officer.
Sorry, can we ask the secretary to formally take an oath?
I swear
I swear
by Almighty God
by Almighty God
that the evidence
I
shall give to this commission
I shall give to this commission
shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth,
and nothing but the truth,
so help me God.
so help me God. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sinesta. You were saying you from your profession?
Senior registration officer.
Senior registration officer. Please speak up so we can hear you. And how long have you been with the registration division?
31 years.
Wow. Have you brought with you the file relating to the Civil Construction Company Limited, CCCL?
Yes, the land file.
And the documents you will be referring today, can you confirm those are true copies of the documents held on the file in your office?
Yes.
Could you confirm what parcels of land does CCCL own or hold?
There's S5500.
Yes.
And other properties, PR2328, PR2327, S5276, and S1702.
And how do they hold these 5 parcels of land?
On S5500, there's a leasehold interest, and
What document are you referring to? Official search?
a parcel S5500.
Yes. And what document are you referring us to?
The lease and the certificate of official search.
Certificate of official search. Yes, so S5500 is held under leasehold, and the other 4 properties you referred us to?
It's
PR2328?
all are freehold.
Freehold?
Freehold, yes.
All 4 are freehold?
Yes.
So can you confirm that the parcel of land that CCCL occupy at Providence Industrial Estate, where the quarry is S5500?
Yes.
And you told us that that parcel of land is held as a leasehold. When did that lease commence?
5500 is a leasehold property, and the lease was dated on the 13th of July 2006, and it was registered on the 26/7/2006.
Registered on what date?
26/7/2006.
26 July 2006, yes. And is that lease still current?
And the term was for 30 years. And it started from 13 July 2006. Sorry.
And what are the dimensions or the total area of land under that lease?
The total area is 333 square meters.
500,000?
333 333 square meters.
And what is the annual rental payable under that leasehold?
The lease was for annual rent of 600,000, payable half yearly.
Is that the same annual rental that is reflected on the official search?
No, there was a variation after that.
You're saying there was a variation of the annual rental?
Yes.
What is the variation amount? The
Variation
amount?
of lease.
Is that reflected on the official search?
No, only the rent.
And what is the new rental?
The new rent. The new rent is 937,550.
Are you able to tell us how the annual rental is determined? Or is that a question for the lands department?
It's for the land, yeah.
Sure. And are you able to tell us about the payments, the record of payments?
No, it's
No.
from the lands department.
Lands department as well?
Yeah.
And generally the other terms, the conditions of the lease, are you able to talk about that? Or
No, it's from
lands department? We have
yeah.
a witness from the lands department coming, so perhaps we will reserve those questions for them.
Yes.
We would like you to produce your documents before us, but before we do that, Mr. Ruku, do you have any questions? No?
No questions. I have some questions. Mrs. Anesta, you have stated that CCCL has one leasehold in respect of S5500 and freeholds in respect of the following four parcels: PR 2328, PR 2327, S5276, S1702. And in respect of that leasehold, S5500, there was a variation to that lease. What is the date of that variation, if you have it on record, please?
The date?
Yes.
Date. It was dated on the 21st May 2018 and registered on the 25th September 2018.
2018?
18, yes.
That's the variation, eh?
For the variation of the lease.
Okay. Now, S5276 and S1702, when was the land transferred to CCCL? Which years or year?
PR 2327 and PR 2328 was transferred on the 23rd May 2019.
Yes, these are Prale properties.
Prale properties.
Now the S5276, S1702.
S1702 was transferred on the 3rd April 2006.
Okay. Now it's 5276.
And S5276 on the 12th January 2000.
Now we know that S5500 is a quarry site, is a parcel on which the quarry of CCCL is located. Do you have any indication roughly where S5276 and S1702 might be located?
No.
Like which
No.
district?
No.
Thank you. That is all.
Welcome.
Mr. Nesta, are you aware of any charges or mortgages or restrictions on any of these properties?
As per our records, there's a restriction, yes.
There are restrictions on which properties?
On all properties.
And in whose favor and for what purpose?
It is in favor of anti-corruption.
On all 5 properties?
Yes.
And does your division keep any records on or plans on the boundaries of these properties? Or is that the lands, we get that from the lands department?
No, from the lands.
You're not familiar with that?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll reserve those questions for the lands department. I think that is all from you. We have no more questions. We just need you to introduce your documents for the record. We will mark these as C2. And if you could leave your file with us. Thank you very much for your time.
You're welcome.
Our next witness, is our next witness here?
Oh, we forgot to ask her what year the CCS put that restriction.
It's on the search. It's on there. That's why the dates are there. That's why I said leave the documents. Good morning, Mr. Weber.
Morning.
Let him take a note. Straight away. Okay. Could we just get you to take an oath, Mr. Weber?
Raise your right hand. And I swear
I swear
by Almighty God
by Almighty God
that the evidence
that the evidence
I shall give to this commission
I shall give to this commission
shall be the truth,
shall be the truth,
the whole truth,
the whole truth,
and nothing but the truth.
and nothing but the truth,
So help me God.
so help me God.
You may be seated.
Mr. Weber, thank you for coming. Thank you for attending. We appreciate your time.
Thank you.
For the record, could you just state your full names
Norman Weber,
and your address and profession?
UCAP Mahe Cccl, and my current profession is the CEO of Island Conservation Society.
Could you tell the Commission what your role was at the Ministry of Finance and over what period you served?
I was the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Finance from the 1st of January 1990 to the 31st of March 2001.
I'm sorry, could you just repeat those dates? We can hardly hear you.
1st of January 1990 to the 31st of March 2001.
And could you help the Commission understand what role you played in CCCL? And before you do that, could you tell us what exactly CCCL was as a company?
Cccl was a company established to take over the quarry operations that had been entrusted previously to an entity called the Special Projects Unit.
When you say to take over the company, who was the original owners? To take over the quarry, who were the original owners?
The quarry was operated by a unit in government called the Special Projects Unit.
That unit was called?
Pardon?
What was the unit called?
The Special Projects Unit.
Special Projects Unit? So the quarry was initially operated as a Special Projects Unit from what period to?
I don't have the exact dates, but it would have been around about the mid-1995 until the transfer to the company.
From the 70s, no?
Pardon me?
From the 70s, it ran as a Special Projects Unit.
No, the Special Projects Unit was a unit set up by the transfer of certain assets that used to be part of the government department called the Public Works Department. The Public Works Department was a department of government which was run for several years and existed in the colonial days. And when Seychelles became independent, that unit, Special Projects, Public Works Department, remained a part of a government department. And part of it in the 90s was transferred to a unit called a Special Projects Unit to look specifically after the quarry.
We were told that CCCL was incorporated in 91, right? So
That's probably
it would
correct,
have,
yes.
So Special Project Unit would have operated, run from the 70s, late 70s to 91. The quarry would have operated under that SPU.
No, the Special Projects Unit would have been set up before 1991, but not in the 70s.
In 80s.
After independence, which was in 76, the PWD existed until it was finally closed down and transferred into a company that was called Works Enterprises Limited, a company that was known as WELL. But before that, or perhaps during that, I can't quite recall, part of the work to do with the quarry was transferred to the Special Projects Unit. So if CCL was incorporated in 1991, then the Special Projects Unit would have existed before 1991, but after the formation of WELL.
So could you tell us what role you played in the incorporation of CCCL?
CCL was established as a government-owned company, a parastatal, and the Ministry of Finance, being responsible for incorporating these companies, would have also had a representative of the government as owners of the new company. So my role was to be a representative of government and a holder on behalf of the government of the shares of CCCL. So it was held entirely on behalf of the government, and certainly not in a personal capacity of any sort.
Yes, the records show that you, as a majority, subscribe on behalf of the Republic.
On behalf of the Republic, correct.
Yes. So,
I don't recall who the other shareholders were. There would have been two, a minimum of two shareholders.
Yes, there was Mr. A.K. Yaqub.
Okay.
Who was Mr.
A.G.
Yaqub?
Yaqub.
A.G. Yaqub.
Yes.
Who was he?
He was the Director General in the Ministry of Finance at the time. So he would have been holding the shares as a nominee of the government as well.
So, did you run that company, or did you sit
No.
as a director of the company?
Yes, we were directors of the company, but we didn't run the company.
So, is there any other role you played in managing the company?
No.
Nothing? No. I don't believe the records show you were director for very long.
Sorry, what was the question?
No, I was just saying the records don't show you as a director for very long of the company. Why was it a government company in the first place? Why?
Well, it was a decision by government that they needed to form a company to operate the quarry. And I think it had to do with the provision of building materials, aggregate and the like, and crusher dust for sale to the public, and also specifically for the construction of roads. Because the construction of roads at the time was also conducted by the Public Works Department, or WELL, who succeeded them. So it would have been for the purpose of supplying quarry products to the private sector and for the construction of roads.
So in 1998, the government decided to sell the company to private owners,
Yes.
correct? And was the Ministry of Finance involved in that decision?
Well, the Ministry of Finance at the time was headed by the Minister of Finance. And as a civil servant, we would take instructions from the policy makers in the government, and that would have been the minister and cabinet. So the instruction would have come from the Minister of Finance regarding the sale or the disposal of the company.
And do you recall any of the details of that? What role did the ministry play in the actual disposal?
The transfer of shares.
Just signing, but
Yeah, the signing
determining,
over of the shares.
determining, for instance, the contract prices. Would that have been the ministry's role, Ministry of Finance?
Well, the directive would have come from the minister at the time, and it would have been on the basis of following an instruction that was issued to us. So we would basically have taken the necessary action to implement the decision of the government. We were not instructed at the time to carry out any evaluation of the company.
Who was the minister at the time?
Minister James Michel.
Sorry?
Minister James Michel was the Minister of Finance at that time.
So would you know how was a buyer chosen?
I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
Do you know if there was a tender process?
No.
No, you don't know, or no, there was no tender process?
I don't know, but there was, as far as I recall, no tender process.
There was no
for it.
tender process. And would you know whether the buyer specifically approached the government directly, or
No, I don't know.
you don't know? And do you know? Would you know how was the sale arranged?
We were simply instructed to transfer the shares to the new owners and instructed to implement the transfer and have the transfer registered.
So who would have done the paperwork? The AG's chambers?
The AG's chamber would have done the transfer papers. The seller, which would be represented by myself, would have signed the transfer of shares, and the buyer also would have signed as transferee for the shares.
So you had no involvement in the, apart from signing the transfer of shares forms, but the actual sales agreement, would you have been involved in that process, in the sale transaction?
No.
No? The records reveal that documents were signed by Mr. Mark Benstrong and Mr. Francis Changleng. In what capacities were they serving at the time?
What year was this?
1998.
1998, Mr. Changleng would have been a director in the Ministry of Finance. Right?
Sorry, he would have been
A director
a director in
in the
finance?
Ministry of Finance, and Mr. Benstrong would have been the chief accountant in the Treasury.
Sorry, you said Mr. Benstrong was
Been the chief accountant,
Chief accountant.
in the Treasury, which is a department of the Ministry of Finance.
So we understand the company was sold for 7.5 million Seychelles rupee. How would one gauge whether this was a fair price for the company?
Well, without a due diligence or evaluation, a fair price or a price would have been established by reference to the net assets of the company. So the company would have presumably produced accounts, and those accounts would be used for the basis of the valuation of the company on a net asset basis.
So it's based on the net assets. So according to the registration division, according to the documents at the registration division, the net assets were, I think the total assets were in the region of 22 million?
How much?
22 million Seychelles rupee. So how would we be able to gauge whether with the net assets of 22 million rupees, whether 7.5 was fair?
The figure of 20 million were the net assets or the gross assets?
Probably total assets.
Okay, total assets is not the same thing.
As with the net, yes.
It requires, there is
It's
funding
the
with those assets
liabilities.
through loans and so on. So net asset would represent essentially be the gross asset less liabilities, short-term and long-term liabilities, and it would represent, in the equation, would represent the value of the shareholder's equity.
So do we know in this instance whether a valuation was done? Or how would they have arrived at the figure of 7.5 million?
Well, I don't think a valuation was done. So therefore, the price would have been based on the book value of the net assets, which would be recorded in the submissions made to the registrar of companies.
We can hardly hear you. You need to just speak up. I think
Yeah.
it's the sound of the
Maybe.
AC.
Does this help?
You said you don't think a valuation was done, but
I don't think a valuation was done, but I would assume that the value that was established for the purchase price was based on the book value of the net assets, which in accounting terms represents the equity of the company.
but the book value is not necessarily the fair value, right? Market value.
Well, a market value can be a combination of a number of things. There are a number of ways in which you value a company. One of those would be purely on net asset value. Another way would be on the profits projection for the next 15 or 10 years. Another one would be a combination of both. And the final one, which you don't have in Seychelles, would be a listed price if there was an outgoing stock exchange. But that was not available. It's still not available, and therefore you would rely on the book value or the projection of profitability to establish a market value per share.
We understand, Mr. Weber, that in fact the Commissioner understands that a senior government figure may have directed Mr. Khan's attention to the availability of Cccl as a company available for sale.
Sorry, what was your question?
I said the Commission understands that a senior government figure may have been the one who directed Mr. Khan to the fact that this company was available for sale.
Right.
Are you aware of that?
No, I don't.
Were you aware before that the company was available for sale on the open market?
No.
No? You were just told that you had to sign over?
Yes.
Okay. And do you know anything about the company at the time? Like, at the time that the government was running it, did they store explosives on the premises?
As far as I know, no explosives were ever stored on site. And that explosives were made available, were stored at the police and made available on request by CCL for any mining or explosive work for granite. I can confirm that there was no storage of explosives on site.
So, as at the time that the CCL was being sold to the new buyers, they were not storing explosives on the property.
Correct. Up to the time of the sale
Up
to the new
time of the
buyers.
sale.
After that, I don't know.
So any storage of commercial explosives by the new buyer would have been done by them. It would have been an initiative
Correct.
that they took. Are you aware of any other conditions that attach to the sale of CCL to Mr. Khan?
No.
And do you know whether after the sale was completed, the Ministry of Finance or any other government ministry ever went back to check on how the company was being operated?
Well, I don't know, but it would not have been from the Ministry of Finance. It would have been perhaps from another ministry who oversees those kind of operations.
Which ministries would have had the responsibility of following up on that?
Well, I assume the custodian of explosives would have had a say in the way it is operated, and I assume that the Ministry of Lands at the time would have some say into how the quarry is operated and how any damage to land had to be reinstated or corrected or protected or whatever. So I assume it would be the Ministry of Land, and the police would oversee the explosives issue.
And where you said you did not see any of the sale transaction documents,
No.
as despite being in the Ministry of Finance, where would those documents be retrievable from?
Well, being a representative of the Ministry of Finance and representative of government on the board, we would obviously have a file, and or several files, and those files would also be retained in the registry of the Ministry of Finance. And during the processes of attending board meetings, we would retrieve the files, attend the board meeting, make any notes relevant to the meeting, and then those would be recorded in the files, and the files returned to registry.
Are you talking about the files that related to the company when you served as a board member?
Well, all aspects of the
Okay.
company would be kept in one or two or other files, and those would also be kept in the Ministry of Finance at all
Okay.
times.
I
The
was-
files were only removed when it was necessary to attend board meetings.
So, what I was asking about specifically was in relation to the sale transaction, because you said you did not see any of the transactions. The only thing you saw was the transfer form that you had to sign over
Correct.
of the shares. But you did not see any of the sale transactions, and I was wondering which department or which ministry would have had those documentation or had that documentation in relation to the sale of the CCL from the government to Mr. Khan and to Island Motors.
Yeah. If you're specific about departments, I think a lot of that correspondence would be in the minister's files, basically maintained by his secretary or personal assistant, and there would be a registry for all other files relating to the headquarters of Ministry of Finance. So in response to the question regarding the CCL specifically, I think the files would be in the Ministry of Finance registry, and which would probably include the minister's own filing systems.
So you said the documents relating to the sale would be in the minister's file, and then the documents relating to the company would be in the registry. Did I understand you correctly?
Yes, certainly relating to board meetings, that for sure would have been in the registries.
In the registry,
Yeah.
yes. But
Relating to decisions, those decisions could either be notes on files exchanged between the minister and at the time the president, and those will be kept either with the minister or in his filing system, or eventually sent down to the registry to be filed. But I did not see any of those correspondence regarding the decision to sell.
is that normal that your office or the Director General's office would not have been involved in the negotiation for the sale?
It's at the time it was not unusual.
You said sorry?
At the time, it was not unusual.
It was not unusual that the transaction would be discussed elsewhere, and
Correct.
who would be involved, who would make the decision to sell a government asset or a government company?
Yeah, just to put you in context, basically up to the 1st of January 1990, there was no Minister of Finance. The President also had the portfolio for the Finance Ministry. And the Principal Secretary would have reported directly to the President. Now, I was not Principal Secretary at the time.
Yeah.
I became Principal Secretary on the 1st of January. At the same time, a new Minister of Finance, the first Finance Minister, was appointed on the 1st of January. So the
But, okay, you're talking about 1990, but this transaction was 98. So by then there was a minister.
yes, there was a minister.
Yeah.
I'm talking back to the incorporation of the company,
Yeah,
and
no,
of
no,
course
no.
the decision to follow.
We're concerned with the sale. We're just trying to establish, who would have decided to sell CCCL.
Then would have been the Finance Minister.
The Minister of Finance himself.
Yes. And instructions would have
And
come
he
from
would
him
have
directly.
he would have been the sole person to make that decision?
I assume the decision that is taken at cabinet level. So I think perhaps an examination of cabinet records at the time would have shed some light on it.
And certainly that was not something that you discussed in the ministry with the minister.
No, the executives in the ministry were not privy to cabinet papers. We did not receive cabinet papers.
But you would not have discussed that with the minister?
Well, he would have given us instructions.
Just
He would,
instructions to
the
transfer.
minister would receive the cabinet papers. Those would be kept in his own registry, and he would convey decisions or extracts of decisions we sent down to us for implementation.
And would that have been given to you verbally or in writing?
Probably a combination of both.
So for you to transfer a government asset to sign off, would you not have needed to see something like from the cabinet, a cabinet resolution or some document other than from the minister?
There would have been a note or an exchange or a transfer of a specific file to the Attorney General to draft documents regarding a sale. And on receipt of that, and the file, we would then send it back to the minister for him to authorize and to approve the transfer, after which the transfer would have been executed.
So we're not talking hypothetical, we're talking about this particular instance. So you would have received a note from AG's chambers, is that what you're saying?
We have received instructions written from the minister, and we would have transferred that to the AG's chambers for carrying out the transfer, for drafting the documents. The document are returned to us, right, and we would have sent it back to the minister for approval, final approval, before execution.
And where would those documents be now?
Now I don't know, but in those times it would have been in the first floor of the central bank building was the Ministry of Finance head office. In fact, the first and second floor of the central bank building would have been the offices of the minister and the head office of the Ministry of Finance.
So are those documents that the PS could readily have available, the PS of Finance?
Yes, yes, they would be available. But now, or at the time.
Yes, you're saying they were available at the time. We've not seen them. So we're just asking if we were to look for these documents or try to retrieve these documents, where would be the starting point? Because you're saying these documents were there.
Well, the documents were at, as I said, in the first and second floors of the Ministry of Finance, in the registry specifically. But then the Ministry of Finance moved. It's moved to the Treasury building several years ago. Certainly after I left the Ministry of Finance in 2001, as I said. At the time we were still in the central bank building. So the move to the Treasury would have taken place after 2001. And I don't know when that would have happened. So then obviously everything, the files, everything else would have moved to the Treasury.
We asked because we have only seen the transfer that you have signed over, or rather they were signed over by Mark Benstrong, I think I mentioned, and Francis Chan Lang. But we have not seen any other paperwork in relation to the sale, the terms and the conditions of the sale. We've not been provided with those documentation. But you say they would have existed, and they would have been a memo from the AG as well as the minister. Correct?
Correct.
Any other documents would they be other than the sale agreement? Who would have signed the sale agreement?
Well, if you tell me that it was Chang Lang and Ben Chong who signed the share transfers?
We have Mark, yes, they signed Mark Benstrong and Francis Chan Lang signed the paperwork to transfer the shares.
The share transfers. That means they would have been authorized to do so directly by the minister. And there should be papers in files conveying that authority.
So looking back at the privatization of the company and knowing what happened on the 7th of December 2023, is there anything about the way the sale was handled that you think the Commission should be aware of?
It's a long time ago. No.
Mr. Ruko, do you have any questions?
Mr. Weber, as far as you can recollect, was CCCL a profitable venture at any point in time that you were in the Ministry of Finance?
Yes, on paper.
On paper.
Right.
But in
But
fact,
as far as I can recollect, no dividends were paid from the period 1991 non-incorporation to the time of transfer.
when you said on paper, in fact, was it profitable?
Well, yes, if the P&L account shows profitability, then he would have been profitable.
Perhaps following up on that question, why did the government decide to
You said,
privatize
yes,
if
that was what I was
indeed,
gonna ask.
yeah, that was the position, that the company was profitable?
I don't know.
Were there any other companies, government companies, that were privatized in the same era that CCCL was transferred to Khan and Island Motors? Because the reason I ask that is because we have information from another public official, ex-public official, who stated that the reason that prompted government to sell these companies was because they were not profitable, and
Well, it's
hence the sale.
it could have been a contributing factor. I don't have the details, but it could have been a contributing factor. And I do not recall if other companies, I mean, what seems to ring a bell is a company called NTA, National Travel Agency, which was a government-owned business that handled inbound tourism, which was wound down and privatized. In the same period, another company which was privatized would have been a company called ULC, Unilateral Company, which had become a government parastatal and was subsequently privatized, which is into a company which today is called Land Marine,
Okay.
and a number, two other companies. From the
Also,
assets of
SMB
the
Fish.
Pardon me?
SMB Fish was there a company that was later maybe it became Sea Harvest, no? That's the information we have.
Oh,
If you don't recall it.
that I don't recollect.
That's all.
Thank you, Dora. Just perhaps one last question. Do you recall signing the paperwork to transfer the shares from the Republic to Island Motors?
Two?
From the Republic of Seychelles, the shares you held on behalf of the Republic, do you recall signing the paperwork, the transfer shares, the
Transfer shares,
yes, to
of
Island
CCCL.
Motors? Yes,
Was Island Motors the new shareholder?
the new shareholder, yes.
Well, then I would have signed it.
We've
I don't
not-
recall the exact.
You don't recall, yes, because I've not seen that paperwork. I've seen the records show you as the holder of the shares on behalf of the Republic, but we've not seen the transfer form from you specifically.
But that you just said that that was signed
It
by
was
Chang
Ben
Lang
Strong
Ben
and
Strong.
Francis
Yeah, so I
Chang
didn't
Lang.
execute the transfer. It was done
Yes,
by.
I was just wondering how that happened when you were on record as the subscriber, the initial subscriber on behalf of the Republic.
Yeah, but the
but-
shares are not in my name. The shares belong to the government. So the government can
They-
appoint anybody to
But
sign the
it
transfer.
was in your name as representing, it was your name representing the Republic of Seychelles.
Yes, correct.
Yes.
So the Republic can choose whoever it wants to represent itself in any transaction.
Well, the documentation from Mr. Chang Lang, yeah, well, it has his name on behalf of the Republic. Okay, I think that's allowable. Is there anything else that you wish to tell us, Mr. Weber, as the Commission in relation to CCCL? In relation to
no,
the
I don't think
transaction
so.
that you're aware of?
No, nothing for me.
If there's no more questions, thank you for your time. We appreciate you coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. What time's our next witness? Our next witness will be at 12:30? 12 or 12:30? 12? 12 o'clock. 12 o'clock or 12:30? 12 o'clock. Our next witness is at 12 o'clock, so we'll take a break now. Thank you very much. You can leave.